Hello, everyone. My name's John Richmond, and I am a friend of Lucas's, and I also happen to be an atheist. I was very flattered when Lucas asked me to make a brief recording to address you uh, as a group. I think that he and I are very good friends and close, despite having different viewpoints on something that we both consider to be important. And we kind of hope that maybe if he and I can do that, that maybe everyone can. I like Lucas not because he's a Christian so much as that he is a good person and thoughtful and kind and open-minded and just a nice person. And I think that he likes me probably for a lot of the same reasons. Despite what you may have heard about atheists, I do try hard to be a good person. I'm sure that not every atheist is a good person. But then again, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that not every Christian is a good person either. I'm sure most are. So Lucas asked me to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm just over 50 years old, and I live in the Boston area. My mother did her best to raise me Christian. She was a very devout woman and tried her best. However, I believe I was a big early disappointment to her in that regard. I told her at a fairly young age that most of it, while some of it was nice, none of it, the Gospels didn't speak to me in the same way that they speak to you and to Lucas and to her. I think that my mother and I eventually found our peace in those differences, even though it took us a long time. By the time I was about 18, she was ready to let go of trying to bring me to Christianity and basically said the rest is up to you. And all that I really care about is that you try to be a good person in life. And, you know, that's what was important to her. And I agree with her. For her, being a good person, the example was Jesus, and for me, being a good person, well, my mom is that example. And I enjoy, as she did, just trying to make the world a better place. I will never forget a day that I spent with her as a young teenager. We lived at the time in a country and a culture where homeless people were reviled and thought of as somewhat less than human. And my mom, being a good person, would go around once a week with rice cakes and feed the homeless people that were in the park near where we lived. And the other people from that culture would yell at us and spit on us and tell us to stop doing it, and basically thought we were, I don't know, half crazy and just doing the wrong thing. So we were treated very poorly while we did it. I noticed that my mother would be very nice to the people who were being very critical of her. She would apologize to them for offending them, but she wouldn't stop what she was doing. And I wouldn't either. By the time we got home later, we were both covered in spittle, and she cleaned me up. And she smiled at me, and she asked me if I knew that I had done the right thing that day. And I told her that I knew that I had. And she said to me, it's the most important to do that when it's hard to do. And I will remember that always. She just smiled and took the abuse and didn't let it deter her from being a good person. My mother's influence in that way led me to a career trying to help other people. I am a career special educator and disability service provider. My work fills me with a lot of joy and satisfaction, and I think that if you have worked or know anyone with a disability, sometimes they will surprise you with how able they really are with just a little bit of help. So that part of my life and my career, I have worked with some of the world's unluckiest people and most vulnerable people and helped them a lot, and they've helped me a lot, actually, and given me a good perspective on just exactly how lucky I am. The other part of my life that is the most meaningful to me is my family. My wife and I have been married for 8 years. Wow, I had to think about that. Don't tell her. We have rescued and adopted 3 dogs from kill shelters, and they have filled our lives with a lot of joy and then helped to prepare us for the bigger adoption quest that we had in mind. 4 years ago, my wife and I decided to adopt a child, and with our backgrounds, I was able to talk my wife into adopting a child who was a ward of the state that we live in. He was removed from his parents' custody for abuse and neglect. And sorry, I still get a little emotional when I think about how anyone could do that to a little kid. But it does happen, and we adopted my son Jordan from the Department of Children and Families, and his life, I hope, will never be the same as it was. This is a picture of my son Jordan. He's 6 years old now. He's been living with us for 4 years, and I think he's turning into a wonderful human being who is safe from the way that his life started. And I feel good about that, and I think I'm lucky to have a kid with such potential. I think the good things that I do in life turn around to do good things in turn for me, and it's made me a better person. I have news about Jordan that I think that the people that I'm talking to will probably like, and that's that now that he's old enough to start talking about big, complicated ideas, he has indicated to me and his mother that he believes that there probably is a God. One of the things that Lucas and I are doing together is I need his help with that, because being both atheists, my wife and I feel slightly underqualified to have lengthy conversations with a young person about what that kind of feeling feels like and how to talk to them about it. So Lucas is helping me with that. I would like Jordan to grow up with his own viewpoint and his own beliefs, and if he decides there's a God, and maybe even a Christian God, that's a-okay with me. So that's a brief look at my life, and I hope it helps you to realize that not all atheists are bad, just like not all Christians are bad or good. Everybody's different. It reminds me of how Lucas and I ended our last conversation when I quoted a part of a Maya Angelou poem that he really likes, which ends with, "We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are, indeed, more alike than we are unlike." I hope you all have a really great day, and that's my alarm bell. I've got to go. Bye.